The room is packed, but it's silence that steps up to speak. A single motionless body, a gaze that demands nothing, and suddenly voices slam into an invisible barrier. You've noticed it. The people we respect never start by explaining. They let the emptiness hang heavy first. In that void, masks talk too loud, intentions slip out, and you don't even need to persuade anymore. Respect emerges when your presence forces a slower pace than the jittery energy around you. You strip away the rush. You starve excuses of air. You let the room sync up to your rhythm. It's not about being tough, it's a basic rule. Scarcity builds value, unpredictability guards the gate. Words come later, sparse, like a ruling rather than a defense. From there, everything shifts. The economics of your presence, the price of entry, the line between admiration and respect. And most importantly, how others start weighing their moves before stepping into your zone. You've been sold on availability as the modern virtue. Respond fast, show up everywhere, smile at everything and every yes tanks your stock. We're living in an economy of presence where attention is the currency and scarcity is the gold standard. The more you give yourself away, the more replaceable you become. The faster you move, the quicker you fade. Platforms call it engagement, but it's just a dopamine factory turning your impulses into predictable, billable behavior. What's rare draws people in. What's plentiful gets forgotten. Look around, live streamed, live thoughts sold by the piece, emotions on clearance. The always reachable era has standardized hearts, streamlined voices, squeezed individuality into recyclable formats. Under this noise, a simple law operates. Machiavellian in its cool logic, perception rules. You don't respect what costs nothing to get. Unlimited availability erases boundaries, and without boundaries, there's no esteem, just consumption. So, you relearn slowness as a protocol. You pull back on appearances, dial down the pace, stop over explaining. Presence stops being a constant stream and becomes an appointment. You quit subsidizing the urgent at the expense of the important. You set a price on your time slots, not in cash but in conditions, clarity, reciprocity, accountability. Scarcity isn't a whim, it's a framework. Every well-placed no straightens the structure. Every deliberate delay resets the rhythm. Every silence restores weight to your words. Far from coldness, this discipline is self-preservation. You guard the hidden aquifer where your ideas, calm and clear visions spring from. And your circle adapts. The casual drop-ins drift away. The takers get discouraged. The serious players step up. People treat you based on the cost of accessing your world. If it's free, disrespect comes free too. If there's a threshold to cross, attention shifts in quality. In this new economy of your presence, showing up isn't an obligation. It's a sovereign act, time granted on terms of meaning. The market catches on quick the less you're everywhere, the more people come to you. The trap doesn't creak, it tallies. Every smile that hides irritation, every no problem that swallows a last-minute cancel, every extra explanation to earn a bit of peace, all of it logs a tiny loss in an invisible ledger. The addiction to being liked levies a tax you don't see, a cut of your time, a discount on your voice, a tithe on your boundaries. Over time, those micro payments build into structural debt. You find yourself settling emotional bills others issued without your sign-off. That's how soft colonization starts. No daylight robbery, just training you to pay up to keep things smooth. You fear conflict, so you offer a discount. You fear disappointing, so you extend credit. You fear being difficult, so you bankroll their ease. Meanwhile, your sovereignty erodes. Your schedule gets negotiated without you. Your silence becomes bargaining chips. Your availability an open pipeline anyone learns to tap. From the outside, it looks like kindness. From the inside, it's a tax system without oversight. Machiavelli would spot the mechanics. Where there's no predictable penalty, there's no lasting respect. The need for approval dismantles your border controls. Passage becomes free, then mandatory. Today it's an exception, tomorrow a habit, and soon they're shocked you dare charge an entry fee. The trap's sneaky. You feel good, they feel titled. The real cost hits later. Quiet fatigue, unspoken resentment, chronic scatter. when it takes weeks to rebuild focus chipped away by a few misplaced yeses. To flip the flow, you reinstate a border with fees. The price isn't aggression, it's clarity. Here's what I offer. Here's what I require. Here's what happens if the exchange tips out of balance. You don't litigate, you invoice through reordered behavior. No ultimatums, just consequences that drop like gravity: repeated lateness, reduced access, broken promises, reassigned priorities, veiled sarcasm, cooled closeness. The other realizes the relationship isn't a free highway anymore. It's a bridge with a weight limit. At this point, the tax stops draining you and becomes fair trade. Those who want to cross-pay in respect, reciprocity, precision. Those who can't swing it find cheaper, less real paths. The machine isn't visible, but it programs you. A compliment lights an LED, like flashes, a notification dings, dopamine drops a micro reward, and already your behavior tilts. It's not warmth. It's Pavlovian training tuned to the millisecond. Through variable micro rewards, like an emotional slot machine, you learn to chase what eats you, respond quicker, smooth your edges, ditch nuance to stay likable. Real power doesn't yell, it pushes buttons. Others map your triggers early: a sweet word to buy time, a hint of disappointment to make you rush over, targeted flattery to turn a no into sure thing. You think you're choosing, your chemistry chooses for you. As long as the remote's in someone else's hands, respect stays out of reach, because you don't respect an instrument you can tune with a thumb. So, cut the power. Our cool take on asceticism: build a delay between the poke and the action. Create a decompression chamber where impulses fizzle and decisions sober up. The first split is internal. There's an emotion, but it doesn't rule me. There's a craving for approval, but it's just a signal, not a command. In Machiavellian terms, you yank the popular chorus's right to legislate your moves. You hand sovereignty to the silent consul who weighs outcomes. This lag, tiny at first, an extra breath, a reply tomorrow, not now, glitches the algorithm that held you. The dopamine supplier loses leverage. If they can't predict your reaction, they can't exploit it. Next comes attention ecology. You stop feeding the loop with cheap stimuli: less reflex scrolling, less quick validation, less free access to your focus. Scarcity here isn't show, it's a hormonal diet. Swap emotional candy for internal metrics like coherence, clarity, integrity that aren't up for barter. Bit by bit, the external remote turns decorative. Same buttons pressed, nothing happens, the room stays calm. This calm isn't a pose, it's neural architecture. It yields a key side effect: unpredictability. Not whimsical caprice, but non-reactive programming that dissolves opponents' scripts. They don't know which button speeds you up, explains you, or makes you yield, so behaviors around you realign, because manipulation yields no return. Finally, you reintroduce the law of consequences, not in anger, but by design. Where the remote dictated, gravity takes over, pressure attempts lose access, ambiguity games lose priority, repeated slips meet emptiness. Nothing theatrical, everything predictable. Your emotions switch to airplane mode when others hunt for signal. And in that clear sky, your words regain heft, not because they're rare for show, but because they no longer answer the bell. Machiavelli never championed terror, he codified predictability. If you have to choose, it's safer to be feared than loved. Isn't about yelling louder, it's about installing a law that needs no witness consequence. Love swings with moods. Machiavellian fear, the cold awareness of cost, steadies actions. Where words negotiate, consequence referees. Where you plead your worth, gravity decides. You don't respect what forgives without memory. You adjust your path to what responds without drama. You draw the line, but silent sanctions make it real. No threats, no trials, just effects broadcast by your consistency. Hollow promise, priority revoked. Chronic lateness, access curtailed. Irony disguised as humor, distance set. The message spreads better than any speech. Like the price of an invisible ticket, everyone factors into their math. Human systems align to payoff. When disrespect costs, arithmetic moralizes behavior better than lectures. Being feared isn't terrorizing, it's setting readable limits. You ditch endless explanatory teaching for fact-based education. The first tortures as much as it begs, the second instructs. Here's where the fox and lion metaphor builds structure: fox to spot emotional traps, lion to erect visible consequence. The fox keeps you from being led by the nose via flattery or faked shame. The lion stops you from turning insight into useless rumination. Together, they form customary law around you. The closer the consequence to the act, the better it teaches. Delay dilutes, immediacy drills. No overkill, no show. Just calm symmetry between what happens and what follows. Then the buzz changes tone, no need to warn, the town knows. People weigh words in your presence like they slow down near a speed trap. They sense no drama, no second reminder, no face-saving plea. Just the quiet order of your choices redistributing access, time, closeness. This regime of consequences drains the drama from motives. You don't need to sniff out intentions to act right. The structure decides instead of exhausted intuition. And paradoxically, the space gets more human. The tender fear of disappointing fades, not because you harden, but because everyone gets a clear map of the terrain. You're not louder, you're more readable. The inner city stops shaking, it holds via a simple, non-negotiable law that doesn't need announcing to be respected. Reputation isn't a bio, it's a perception architecture. It builds less from what you say about yourself than from what the world whispers when you stay quiet. The modern mistake is seeing it as a list of traits. It's a signal system, sparse and consistent, cluing in on one key thing: how predictable your reactions are. Controllable people give standard responses on schedule. They're economically readable. Respected people cultivate another readability. You know they're steady on principles, but you never know when they'll show, how long they'll stay, or what it'll cost to hear them. That unknown isn't a pose, it shields sovereignty. The rumor mill works for you when you starve the poison over explaining, open confessions, free availability. Machiavelli would say the city judges by eye more than touch. Repeated appearance shapes belief. Repeat the same inner stance, gravity, slowness, precision, and vary the externals, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, sometimes generous, sometimes unyielding. The constant must be your law, consequence, boundaries, brief truth, the variable, your style. That way, you're predictable at core, unpredictable in timing, tone, access. People can't game you, they can only deal with you. Reputation also hinges on what you refuse. Every public no raises a pillar. Every silence to provocation sets an invisible beam. The loud grab attention but wear out fast. The restrained shape the space. Slow to enter, sharp to exit. You don't chase misunderstandings. You let them dissolve against your consistency wall. People get used to you not fixing an image, but letting actions weigh in. Then your aura thickens, they weigh words upstream. Prep better. Show up on time, because they know your doors swing on steel hinges, not whim. The fox and lion reunite here discreetly. Fox in blurring access paths to your core. No one knows which door you'll use to appear. Lion in the core's fixity. No one doubts what drives you. You're not mysterious for mystery's sake. Total transparency is a security surrender. You let others think they see, while keeping decision rights. And since the city adapts to payoff, it learns the best way to get something from you isn't flattery, pressure, or nagging, but precision and poise. Then your name stops being a sound, it becomes gravity. Reducing isn't vanishing, it's boosting density. You don't fill space, you carve it. Between appearances, you install distance that's neither cold nor escape. It's a decompression chamber where others must recharge their intentions. This void isn't a hole, its form. It draws paths, sets thresholds, forces steps. In presence economics, scarcity is natural tax. Less exposure makes each minute premium material. Less talk makes each word heavier. You shift from chat to gravity. Solicitations reorder, not by magic, but cost no more cutting across your time. Entry requires reasons and deadlines. The tool is straightforward word economy. Ditch comfort explanations, keep decision statements. Cut commentary, hold consequences. Less justification, more sharp edges. Sentences should stand like beams, short, straight, bearing what they declare. Where chatter leaves loopholes, rare speech seals useless exits. Machiavelli would grin at this build-counted appearance forges a serious rep no assembly line can match. People stop crowding to pull words from you, they work upstream to earn them. Distance becomes a safety protocol. It blocks auto-access, neutralizes emotional pressure, Dieter's opportunism. It protects what doesn't happen live prep, reading synthesis, that hard calm forging authority. Nothing solitary for show, it's about installing delay, latency restoring your response mastery. The other learns fast that your silence isn't judgment, but review time, your delay isn't whim, but norm, your no isn't shutdown, but set up for a productive yes. This archaeology of lack creates the magnet. You stop posing as abundant resource, you become singular meeting. Gazes adjust, theatrical urgency dies, precision wakes. Availability numbers drop, exchange quality rises. Strategic void highlights what mattered, clear asks, clean promises, kept commitments. Where they pulled you into commentary and soothing, now they seek trajectory. And if they gripe about no instant reply, let the gripe fall into your defined space. It dissipates without touching you, like sound without walls to echo. Slowness doesn't make you slow, it makes you unreadable. You enter like shutting a door against wind, no rush, no noise, and the air changes. Ambient rhythm tries to snag you, speed your breath to make you predictable. You counter with mineral cadence. Eyes latch onto this inertia that's not passivity but orbital choice. Each move slows and densifies, shoulders drop, neck straightens, breathing turns metronomic. It's not performance, it's temperature. Provocations burn poorly here, flattery evaporates, impatience chokes. People mix up coldness and indifference. Your calm is neither. It's muscular sovereignty. A way not to hand your axis to the first emotion knocking. The room's psychology always tries short-circuit push to make you explain, prod to make you react, charm to make you give. You let current pass without grounding. Face stays open, gaze steady, voice low, almost lazy. This laziness is facati, its mind economy refusing waste. Machiavelli, under the skin, reminds that fear here isn't inspired terror, but respect for what your inertia makes costly. Bad talk has a price, rushing you has opportunity cost. Pulling you off tempo demands outsized investment. So they match your step, not submission, but geometry demands it. The body becomes a contract. Hands don't wave, they punctuate. Silences aren't gaps, they're cuts clearing structure. You strip conversation to pillars only. The other gets that this turf isn't won by yelling louder, but specifying more. Slowness does that, demands straight lines, bans fuzz. Even rejections don't snap, they settle clean like a seal in wax. You can't be outrun, because there's no speed to outrun. Traps aren't set, because nothing in you rushes to spring them. Invulnerability isn't lacking vulnerability, it's governing its play. You feel, but defer action till sensation stops commanding. That shift makes buttons useless. Humiliation attempts bounce off stone, charm bids dissolve without hook. Your aura doesn't come from manufactured mystery. It stems from coherence between slowness, density, and consequences. In this atmosphere, urgency loses tyranny. Words stop being bullets, they become tools, held two-handed. In daily life, power isn't grand gesture, it's micro-rituals holding the frame. In negotiation, you don't enter to convince. You enter to frame conditions first, explanations after, if they help. You state perimeter, rhythm, milestones. Your voice doesn't seek buy-in, it maps terrain. When they veer, you don't chase. You recenter the map and let consequence gravity pull steps back on path. In hierarchy, you respond on your timeline, not their impatience. A message doesn't become summons because it blinks. You let delay breathe around decisions. This gap kills urgency's tyranny and restores judgment depth. When friendly pressure hits, let it slide. The silence does half the work. In intimacy, presence is selective. Affection given, but without unlimited credit. You don't soothe the anxiety with over-explanation. You offer calm clarity, what you can, what you won't, what follows when given word wavers. They find you rare but reliable, gentle but firm on essentials. Respect grows as access stops being automatic and consistency turns predictable. In every interaction, the same triptych sketches the blueprint: say little, demand clear, apply quietly. You don't argue bad faith. You dry it up by cost, you don't preach negligence. You demote it by priority loss. You don't dramatize disagreements, you place them in a frame where you advance or part. Nothing flashy, all repeatable. These sober moves reform the ecosystem people show prepared. Keep time, weigh words, and when exception falls, no scene or grudge, just proportional sanction resetting the axis. Day by day, this protocol draws your atmosphere density, slowness, consequence. They stop soliciting to wear you, they start seeking to follow you. You weren't born to be available, you were born to be readable. When you drop the need to be liked, the room regains proper gravity, rushed voices fade distant, hasty moves self-correct, your axis stops being public hallway. This journey's nothing flashy, it's slow restoration, almost mineral. Treat your time like rare material, your words like blades, your boundaries like heavy doors that don't creak. They'll know you not by promises, but by what your inertia forbids. The inner city breathes at last, because consequence law guards the walls. Respect our approval isn't a slogan, it's topography. So, make a choice that puts you with the builders. In the next interaction, let silence weigh before replying. In the next ask, accept only what your spine can hold without bending. In the next slip, don't storm, let consequence drop, sharp and cool, like gravity. You don't need to convince, you need to hold. Scarcity isn't pose, it's regimen. Consistency isn't rigidity, it's music. And that's how your name shifts from sound to weight, from noise to landmark. If you need a reminder, take it here, declare nothing. Execute. Stay silent, observe. Then strike. What you don't transform, you transfer. Reclaim your sovereignty today, in the concrete detail waiting at the door. The man who needs nothing commands everything.